Boker or Masechet Bava Kamma Daf 7A1. We were talking about that the entire concept over here, where we just said if somebody comes and he says that he's going to give a maneh to the Bedek Habayit, remember that means that he's going to give 100 zuz to the Bedek Habayit. So Rabbi Akiva came and he said that a gizbar, which was, remember, it's like the shamash, he could come and he could take from the best of the properties. So he says that's from the edit. Remember, edit is the best of the properties. So he says, lo yeh la balchov, even if it's going to be like a regular balchov, right? And balchov takes from a beronit. Remember, balchov just means that somebody that borrowed money from them. That's called a balchov. So balchov, he's going to take from beronit. Okay? V'chitem, and if you're going to tell me, Sava Rabbi Akiva comes and he holds, kol balchov nami bidit, that any balchov also takes bidit. Ika lemifrach, you could ask the following question, what about a regular balchov that he's got a very good strong koach and nizikin that he collects from idit, and therefore we could actually learn to collect the chov from idit. Tomar be'egdesh, it's going to tell you in egdesh, shurak kocho benizikin, that he does not have such a koach in nizikin, which means by nizikin itself, that's where you're learning it from. It does not have a good koach, right, a hekdesh to hedyot, because the hedyot, right, the hedyot, he's going to come and he's going to collect idit. Hekdesh does not collect at all, okay, because in all the avot nezikin, right, that's what we are going to learn in the Gemara, right, it says urak kocho benizikin, and we didn't say in keren, so it's much, but you don't collect whatsoever. So you see from here that there's going to be a big difference between hekdesh and balchov, okay. So the says the Gemara, Leolam, really bemet, the negach Torah didan le Torah de Ekdesh, was the opposite. We damage Ekdesh, not that Ekdesh damaged us. Because remember, if Ekdesh damages us, if we damage Ekdesh, it was one halakha. We just said that maybe you're patur. Because it says shor re'u and not shor Ekdesh. But he says, but what happens if the shor of our shor damages, right, the shor of Hekdesh? So now if you're going to say now shor re'eu amar rachmana velo shor shel hekdesh, Rabbi Akiva savar, right? Rabbi Akiva holds like Rabbi Shimon ben Menasya, which means that it's not going to be poter negichat shor of idiot, that is going to be nagach shor shel hekdesh. The opposite, it's coming to be magdi, it's going to be machmir in hekdesh more than idiot. What does that mean? The Tanyas we learned in a braita. Rabbi Shimon ben Menasya says shor shel hekdesh shenegach shor shel idiot. According to Shidat Rabbi Shimon ben Menasya, when you have a case of a shor shel hekdesh that gores a shor shel idiot, that means they are damaging us. One more time, hekdesh. Which one? No, shel idiot. Kol echad. Lama kohen. Kol echad. Yeah. So he says patur. He's going to be patur. Hediot is a simple person. Lo shel hekdesh is hediot. Anybody. Yeah? Idiot is a normal person. A normal person. Yeah? Shor shel idiot, shenagach shor shel hekdesh, ben tam, ben muad, mishalem nezek shalem. So here it's exactly the exact opposite, meaning like this. Here it's a protection for the hekdesh. The protection of the hekdesh is if you have a shor of hekdesh that damages, right? Our shores, doesn't matter who it is on this table, they are patur from paying. But if our, yes, like immunity, that they have a special immunity because of who they are, right? But a shor shel idiot, meaning our shor, that gores the shor shel hekdesh, whether it's a tam or a muad, mishalem nezek shalem, let's pay nezek shalem. No, that's what we're saying. We're saying the exact opposite. That's what we're saying now. The exact opposite, which means one more time, zoom out, one more time. If right now their shore gores us, doesn't matter our shores, our property, or whatever it is, what? A hekdesh. Hekdesh to us, patur. Us to hekdesh, whether it's a tam or a muad, nezek shalem, which is not the normal cases. Usually, tam is chetzi nezek and muad is shalem. No. Yes. Yes.
The man is like that.
Yes.
The man is like that. No?
He called it immunity, by the way. You called the what?
The man is like that, no?
No, we're going to see later on. The man is always paid Nezek Shalem, yes. Says the Gemara, if so, Rabbi Ishmael and Rabbi Akiva, might be dit nizak v'ziburit de mazik plige. Whoever told you that there's the machloket is that if you have the idit of the nizak and the ziburit of the mazik, which means, how do you know that that's the machloket? Remember, we always said, right, according to everybody, they just pay from the idit by damages. But the question is, who do you evaluate? Do you evaluate by the damager or damagee? Right, the one doing the damage, mishmazik or the nizak? Ze machloket, right? But lechule alma ze idit. Av idit shel mi, from the guy that's damaging or the one that's receiving the damage. So we said that the machloket between Rabbi Ishmael and Rabbi Akiva is that the idit of the nizak and the ziborit of the mazik. So he says, Dilma dechule alma b'di nizak shaminu. Maybe according to everybody, we go by the nizak. And here we have the machloka between Rabbi Shimon ben Asya and Rabbanan to do with the shor shel ediot, that it's nagach, a shor shel ekdesh. Rabbi Kiva holds like Rabbi Shimon ben Asya that what the mazik ekdesh tzarich leshalem et hanezek leekdesh, and therefore you have to be meshalem beidit. And Rabbi Shmuel holds like Rabbanan she'en ekdesh govet nizakav klal. They do not collect at all. Meaning like this. There's actually coming on a machloket. Does Hekdesh receive money for damages or not? According to the Rabbanan, and Rabbi Ishmael holds like Rabbanan, that's what we're trying to say, nada. Meaning, you come and you say, you damage. Who did you damage? If you damage your friend, oh, I got into a mess. You damage Hekdesh, you say, Baruch Hashem. Why? It wasn't a friend, so therefore I don't have to pay. That is the Shita of Rabbanan and Rabbi Ishmael. And the other one was Rabbi Akiva with the Shita of Rabbi Shimon ben Asya, and the Shita of Rabbi Akiva with Rabbi Shimon ben Asya was the opposite. It's even more stricter. You have to pay Nezek Shalem. Yeah, you have to pay Nezek Shalem. Yeah? So he comes and he says like this. So, if so, he comes and he says, Mailo ba katuv. What does it mean? The pasuk is not coming to teach you. What does that mean? Ve'od, and furthermore, right? My kal v'chomer lekdesh. What's the kal v'chomer to ekdesh? So he comes and he says, ve'od, and furthermore, Rav Ashi comes and he says, Tanya Bahedya, we learned in Mefurash, Meitav Sadeu, Meitav Karmo Yishalem, Meitav Sadeu Shel Nizak, Meitav Karmo Shel Nizak. These are the words of Rabbi Ishmael. And Rabbi Akiva comes and he says, Meitav Sadeu Shel Mazik, and Meitav Karmo Shel Mazik. It all has to do with the Meitav Sadeu, Meitav Karmo of the Mazik. So he comes now and he says, what's going on then? Yeah? So he says like this, Rami lei Abaye le Rava. So comes now and the Gemara is going to speak about the obligation of the mazik to pay from the best. So Rami le Abaye le Rava, Abaye comes and he asks from Rava, Ketiv, it's written, Meitav Sadeh, Meitav Karmo Yishalem. Right? You're going to pay from the best, whether it's from the Sadeh or from the Kerem. Meitav in, Midyachrin lo. So only is from the Meitav, nothing else. But Tanya, we learned in a Braita, Yashiv, Kesef Yashiv li balav. Yashiv, the Rabot Shaveh Kesef, Vafilu Subin. You could pay anything which is even Shaveh Kesef, which means like this, right? Right now, right, in nowadays, imagine right now I come and I buy a house. And when I'm going to buy the house, I come to pay you, and instead of coming with my luggage, right, with all the mezumanim, right, I come, and the guy comes, okay, where's the payment? He says, 1 second, it's coming. All of a sudden, pulls up a truck, right? The truck opens up, and it has all apples. And all the apples are going to start pouring down upon him. I say, okay, here's my payment. I just paid you whatever it is, let's say $1 million, whatever it is. Here it is, in apples. Does it work or not?
מכשירים כאילו, מה, לא הבנתי אותך.
Apples, תפוחים, not apple, no, apples, תפוחים עצמם. Yeah? I should have chosen oranges. I said, but then you're going to tell me orange is also in Israel. Yeah? So the question is, yeah? He comes and he says, yeah? So he comes and he says, can I do that or not? No. So says the Gemara, yes. Why? When it says Balabor Yishalem Kesef Yashiv Li Valav, right? When it comes and it says that you're going to give back Kesef, Yashiv is Lerabot Shaveh Kesef. Shaveh kesef means anything which is equal to money. Vafilu subin, so even fiber, even bran, I could give. Even bran. Yeah, even bran. Okay? So he comes now and he says like this, right? So you see from here that there's a stira. You're telling me, right, that he has to come and he has to pay for the best of his fields. He could give you bran. Imagine somebody actually does that. You're going to come, you're going to say, you kidding me? You say, get out of here. I want dollar bills. Yeah? I want dollar bills. So now he comes and he says this. So he says, La kashya. Kam midato lekam bel kulcho. This is not a question. So you know why? Here, where we don't want to be matriach, the nizak, to be tovea the mazik and bedin. The pasuk, when it's talking about l'shalem mina meitab, is talking about a case shamazik did not want to pay, and therefore you have to force him to pay. So therefore, you're actually bringing him to bedin to pay it. Meaning, sometimes it happens, right? Somebody damages you, you come and say no pay up. They don't want to pay. So you have to take him to court, right? Or the insurance has to take him to court and things like that. Why? Because I don't want to pay a penny. So therefore, they have to take him to the din in order to come and to make them pay. So Amar Ula says, Berei de Ravila, Daikanami, and that's why it says Ichtiv Yeshalem. Shalem means Bal Kulcho. We force him to pay. That's what we're doing. Okay? So Amaleh Abai comes and he says, Mi Ketiv Yeshulam. Does it say Yeshulam? Right? That's mashma that we're going to force him to pay. Yeshalem Ketiv. Right? Midato mashma. It's mashma no, he's doing it on his own accord. What are you talking about now they're forcing him? And Amar Abai, but rather Abai comes and he answers, Kedemor, Alpir Rabba. Right? The Tanya was learned in a Braita. Imagine a person has fields, houses, right, vineyards. Yeah, fine. And he cannot sell them at the proper value. He could actually take the shovi until a half. Okay. And more comes and he asks, 1 second. Right? What's the case? Everyone understood one more time. A person has a field and he cannot sell it. So he could actually use it until Maaser Ani, until half the field. So the field is worth 200 zuz until 100 zuz. So says the Gemara, if you're going to tell me now that it went down, that according to everybody, and his also went down, thank you. Right? He comes and he says, Afilu tuvanami. So he says, so in such a case, he comes and he says, even if it's going to be even more, why can't you give him? Why only until 100 zuz? Why only until half the value of the property? Yaha zul dechule almanami. So he says everybody's properties went down. Meaning like this: in a market, when a property goes down, it's not only just one property. So all the properties go down. It's not just one house, right? It's all the property. So he says ela beradim teokid arata dechule alma, right? That everyone's properties went up. V'didei I did the ail v'nafik azuza, but his, since he has to get money, he needs money. Zal areh, it goes down. Meaning like this. Sometimes it happens that the properties are this, but somebody's strapped for cash, so they have to sell. Now the thing is, since the properties went up, so people are trying to find a good deal. So he knows that the only way to sell is if he's going to have to drop the price, so that his property is going down and not everybody else's. Because you think it doesn't make sense. It's a market. The market, it's either everybody goes up or everybody goes down. So just one person goes down, everybody goes up. Says, no, this is the case. Zayin Mubet, right? 7b. So he says, Afilu purtanami lo lisfele. So he says, 1 second. So even a little bit of the Maaser Ani, then you shouldn't give it to him. Why? Because if they are shaveh 200 zuz, and therefore he's not considered an ani, right? Even though he cannot sell it for 100 zuz. Meaning like this, in order for a person to be considered an ani, it has to be that he does not have 200 zuz. Because if he has 200 zuz, he's not an ani, right? He's got money. Now remember, nowadays 200 zuz, and olden days 200 zuz was two completely different things. Olden days 200 zuz was the salary of a year, a yearly salary. Okay, that's why when you give a woman 200 zuz, right, it used to be a yearly salary. So for example, if you would look up now on Google what is a yearly salary in the US, obviously it went up. So let's say it used to be 30,000, now it might become 40,000 or 50. You understand? Meaning that's what you need for a year to live. Now again, we're not talking about that you're going to start living in the St. Regis. You understand? We're talking about normal living. right? We're not talking about in a very expensive area or living on very expensive things. No, we're talking about the normal. Okay, so he comes and he says, so therefore, even though the guy cannot come and sell his property for 200 zuz, right? I went up to 60. Wow. Okay. Check last year. I think it was 40 or 45. It's like how much? Yeah, now it's already 60. Okay. That's what he just checked. 60. 59,000. Yeah.
Well,
yeah. Yeah. So he comes in now and he says like this, right? Again, we're talking about, obviously depends where it is, depends, it depends. If you're in I don't know where in Africa and you're going to make 60, you're a billionaire, you understand? Depends where you are. You understand? Fine, but he says here like this. So he says, the Amar Morala. So Mor says, Lo tzricha, what are we dealing with? Tevyomed Nisan yekara arata. Uvyomed Tishri zal arata. Lekule alma natri al Nisan umezabne. Right? Hol vitzricha lezuze zabin kedahashta. So he says like this. He says, do you know that there's temporadas? How do you say temporada? There's like different seasons. The seasons is that sometimes it's a good season to sell. Sometimes it's a good season not to sell. So he comes and he says, it was higher last year. It was higher. So weird. Okay. Since it was higher last year. Okay. So he comes and he says like this. He says, right, that he comes and he says like this. He says, certain times of the year, the price goes up. Certain times of the year, the price is down. So he says, technically speaking, in Nisan, right, it's the summertime, so prices go up. He comes and he says, in the winter time, prices go down. So in Tishri, it becomes cheaper. So he says, you're selling now in the winter. But why? Just because you're strapped for cash. And therefore, it comes out that this person is not considered an ani to take even 1,000 dinar, because since during Nisan, his property is worth 200 zuz, but he's not really also nashir, right? Why? Because, everybody could wait until Nisan, and he can't. He doesn't have it. So so a person will go down in price until half the price. Okay? But he says, Tfei, but a person will not go down in price more than half. Meaning, even if it is that a person is going to be strapped for cash, they will go down the value until 50%. They won't go more than that. They won't go more than 50%. They will go until 50%, but not more than that. Okay? The hachanami kabenezikin, so to here by nezikin, dine beidit. The din is that you always have to collect idit, as it says metav sadeh metav karmo. Tiyamar leu ihu. Now, however, though, if now he comes to the mazik and he tells him, havli benonit tfi purta, give me the benonit, which is worth like right now, which is even a little bit more than the idit. Elmaleh, he could tell me like this. Can this again? Nowadays, this doesn't apply because nowadays you're paying cash. So cash is cash, but it could apply. Let's say I come and I tell you, you know what? I want euro. Why? Because I believe that the euro is going to be very strong. So I come in and I tell you, you know what? Give me euro, right? No, the opposite. Sorry, I need something which is lower. Give me Canadian dollars, right? Why? Because Canadian dollars is worth less than thing, but give me a little bit more than the value. Meaning like this: if you would pay me in American dollars, you have to pay me 100 American dollars. So now if you're paying me in Canadian dollars, you have to give me, let's say, 130, right? Fine. 130. I'm going to tell you, you know what? Give me the Canadian dollars, but instead of giving me 130, give me 135. No. This is what I'm telling you. Right? Nizikin. Ribit is only in halva, right? It's not halva. Yeah? It's nizikin. So he comes and he says like this. And ribit al nezek. Yeah? So he comes and he tells him, right? This is what, give me the benonit. Just give me a little bit more. So comes the mazik and he tells him, Elmaleh, ishakalt kedinach shekol kedahashta. If you want to take like your din, which is the idit, take it, right, according to the mechir of now, which is the cheaper price, and therefore you're going to get more land. But if you don't want to take from the idit, but rather from the benonit, shekol kiyukra de lekameh. So then you have to take it like the higher price in Nisan. And therefore you're going to get less properties. And now we actually understand when it says mitav sadehu yishalem, it teaches you that the nizak is zakai litol mina mitav, and the pasuk yashiv is teaching that if the nizak wants to take the karka, which is not idit, he could take it, but according to the Shata Yoker, not right now. Meaning, one more time, let's zoom out. One more time, what's going on? Right now, remember, somebody damages. So they have to pay. How much they have to pay? They have to pay from Metav Sadeh, from the Edit. Comes the guy and he says, you know what? I don't need American dollars. I think all the Canadian dollars. Right? I'm giving you the example in dollars. There they were talking about in property, so it was Berunit instead of the Edit. So the guy comes and he says, listen, I don't need so much Edit. It doesn't help me. Give me Berunit. So the guy could come and say, but you know what, but if I'm already asking for Berunit, I could have taken in the prime, instead like in the best area of the city. Now I'm going to come and I'm going to take it. So you come. So give me a little bit more. Says the Mazik, no. Says the Mazik, if you want to take the Edit, take it now. And the Edit, since I damaged you in Tishri is the low price, meaning that's when the prices are cheaper. So you would actually get more property. It says if you want Benonit, bechavod, but you're going to have to take it according to the price of Nissan. And since the price of Nissan, the price is higher, you're going to lose out. That's what he could do. Right? And that's what the Mazik could actually do. He could tell him. Okay? Fine. Says the Gemara, Matkif la Ravacha bar Yaakov, ask Ravacha bar Yaakov, in ken if so, Horata kochan shel nezakim etzel beroni v'ziburit. Doesn't make sense. How does it make sense that you're strict on nizikin, and then you're actually being light? Yeah, you're being like, how do you say, like easy on them? What's going on? If I'm going to ask you right now, the fact that nizikin have to pay idit, is that a chumra or a kula? It's a chumra. If I'm going to tell you now that the instead of the idit, he's going to take a benonit or a ziburit, but when he takes it, he loses out. Is that a kula or a chumra? It's a kula. What's going on? That's what the Gemara asks. Matkif la Ravacha bar Yaakov, asked Ravacha bar Yaakov, im ken so, horata kochan shel nezikim, it's a benoni v'ziburit. Rachman Amar, the Torah says, mi meitav, v'ata amarta benoni v'ziburit namilo. So no, you can't. It's only from the meitav, from the edit, but not from the worst. Rather answers the Gemara, Amar Ravacha bar Yaakov, but rather Ravacha bar Yaakov says, i'ika ledemuye. If you're going to be medameh anything, if you're going to compare anything, lebalchov medameh. We're going to compare it to balchov. Balchov dine bemenonit. Remember that a balchov is always with benonit. Remember, nezikin is a dit, the highest. Balchov bebenonit, right? Ketubat isha ziburit. We learned this already. We learned it in ketubot. Fine. Says the Gemara, right? Ziburit, right? From the lowest. Okay. I'm going to give you guys chazara. Right? So he says over here like this. He says, we're going to learn it from the Balchov, the Dineh Benonit. The Elmaleh. Now, if you're going to tell him now, Havli Ziburit Fepurta, give me Ziburit instead, and give me a little bit more. Elmaleh, you could tell him the same thing. Shekalt Kedinach, Shekol, Kedashta. If you want to take it now, take it the way that it is. And if not, Shekol Kiyukra de Lekameh. You're going to have to take like the most expensive time, which is going to be during the time of Nisan. So Matkif la Ravacha. Ask Ravacha Bredavika, im ken if so, now to delet bifnei lavin. The Elmaleh that he's going to tell him, ilu avu lezuze havishak lekedahashta hashta de zuze gabach. Now that the money is by you, ashkol kiyukra de lekame. I'm going to come. I'm going to take it like the most expensive. What does that mean? Meaning like this: why in the world would I lend out money if I'm going to lose out? How would you're going to be noel delet bifnei lavin? Noel delet bifnei lavin is a terminology that you're closing the door for borrowing. Why are you closing the door for borrowing? Why in the world would I lend you money if I'm always going to lose? Usually, if you're going to lend out money, you always have to be in the winning end. That's why there's an entire concept of rebit, and then you can give it a rebit, and then if you do, you have to do it. But why? Because why in the world would I lend you money and then I'm going to lose from it? It just doesn't make sense. I wouldn't do it. Yeah? Okay, but how many people give matanot? I understand, but how many people give? Stam, you're just going to go to a guy and give him matana? That's something else. Matana, family member, something else. We're talking about a normal case, a normal scenario. Nobody wants to come and lose. You would never come and do that. It doesn't make sense. Why in the world would you do that? Okay, fine. So he comes down and he says like this. He says, why? The guy, the malve, is going to come and tell the love, if I had money, which means if I didn't come, right, and I didn't lend you, I didn't borrow money at all, right, I didn't lend you money at all, so then I would take the ziburit, according to the mechid, right now, which is the cheap price. But now that you have the money, right, I'm going to come and I'm going to take the ziburit, right, according to the more expensive. He says it doesn't make sense, right? That means basically people are not going to come and they're not going to lend out money. So Chachamim did not want that people should stop lending out money. So therefore they were mitaken that a balchov is going to get it from Benonit, and balkorchach, the takana was also the zechut ligvot et achov lefi המחיר הזול של עכשיו בכל מקרה, in any case. אף כשירצה לגבות חובו מזיבורית. Meaning, not like what we said before. We said before that imagine right now, I come in and lend you money. You owe me money. I'd say, okay, pay up. Now remember, there's no cash, there's no liquid. It's of properties. So you come and you're going to tell me, okay, fine. I've got a property in Biscayne Point, right? That's Benonit. I'm going to pay you back. I come and I tell you, you know what? I already know that in Nopaloka or Hialeah, prices are going to go up. So I say, you have Ziburit over there, no? Give me the Ziburit, but if I'm going to take Ziburit, give me more Ziburit, more square footage. Why? Because I'm taking the inferior, right? So now the guy's going to come and tell you, I'm sorry, if you want Benonit, take Benonit according to the price now. But if you want Ziburit, I'm going to give you less square footage because you're taking Ziburit. So says the Gemara, if you're going to do that, why in the world would I ever lend you money? Doesn't make sense. So the next guy that comes by, he's going to say, can I borrow money? You know what the answer is? No. A big N-O, very big. No. That's it. So says the Gemara, Ela marvacha bered Ravika. Rather, Ravacha bered Ravika comes and he says, Iika ledemuye lektubat isha medaminami. Really, if we want to compare it, we can compare it to Ketubat Isha. Why? Ketubat Isha dina Ziburit. The Ketubah of a woman, she collects, right, from Ziburit. Now, if she's going to come and she's going to tell you, Havli Benonit Batzir Purta, you know what? What happens in the opposite case? The woman comes to you and tells you, what am I going to do in, what am I going to do in Hialeah, in Opaloka? You know what? She comes and she says, give me a Biscayne Point and give me a little bit less. Give me the Benonit. Just give me a little bit less. Right? So he comes and he says, right, like this. Amarla, he tells her, Ishakalt kedinach. If you're going to take... לא, זה אותו שווי. אבל זה לא אותו...
לא, אולי בעיה היא יותר גדולה. זה נגיד שווה 2 מיליון, ובסקייפות שווה 1.8 מיליון.
One more time. Ziburit, there's two yanim. There's the value, and then there's the type of property. Okay, I'm going to ask you a question. I'm going to give you $2 million property in Hialeah, and I'm going to give you a $2 million property in Biscayne Point, and I'm going to give you a $2 million property in Surfside. In Surfside, you're going to get a barn, right? You're going to get a rundown, I don't know what. In Biscayne Point, you'll get something fine. Say, okay, beseder. In Hialeah, you'll get a factory. You'll get I don't know what, a mansion. You'll get a thing. They're all the same value. The $2 million is $2 million, right? But the value of the property, is it Ziburit, is it Benonit, or Idit? So now here, the woman, she's supposed to take Ziburit from Hialeah. She comes and tells you, you know what? What am I going to do in Opaloka? You know what? Give me in Benonit, in Biscayne Point. Give me a little bit less. Give me less. Give me less. That's what she tells him. So says the Gemara Malai, he tells her, if you want to take your like your halacha, you could take it. Shekol kadashta. And if not, shekol ikiyukar de lakamen. No, you're going to take it like the higher price. Meaning none of that. Now you want a Benonit. You're going to lose out. Why? Because I'm not going to give you the Benonit of Tishri. I'm going to give you the Benonit of Nisan. Meaning, what is the price going to be in Nisan? It's a higher price. That's the price that I'm going to go. So it says the Gemara, but it's still a question. Right? So Amar Rava comes and he says, Kol diahiv mimitav leitivle. Right? Whenever you're coming and you're saying, Kol mashadantenu amazik, whatever you're giving him in the Tashum and Ezek, you have to give him from the best. Okay? And therefore, according to that, even the metaltalim, you have to give him from the best. The entire chiyuv of the meitav l'shalem is in anything. It's not only just in the idit of the property. Meaning, right, let's say you have movable objects, you have cars, and you have to pay back. I could ask you for the Rolls Royce. I'm going to tell you, don't give me the I don't know what. You understand? Right? We're going to say that the Tesla is the Benoni, right? And then the what's it called? The Ziborit will be his whatever, like I don't know what, Honda, Renault, yeah, exactly. All these things. No, even in the damages, when we're talking about now, the movable objects, you have to give from the mitav, from the best. Okay? So says the Gemara, where do you learn that from? It only says for the best of your fields. It doesn't say for the best of your cars, or the best of your property, or your tangible property, your movable, your taltalin. Rather, when Rav Papa and Ravuna Ber Yeshua came from the academy of Berav, Pashua, they explained Kol Mileh, they said Kol Mileh lemeitav, for everything. The lo mizda ben achav, you're not going to sell it now bekalut. Mizda ben mata achrita, you could sell it somewhere else. Lebar me'ara, except for fields. Leituv lebi metav, so you have to give him of the mitav of the karka. In order that people run and jump and grab it, which means like this. Really, be'emet, right? Rav Papa and Ravuna, right, the son of Rav Yeshua, when they came to the Midrash, they explained that when we say kol davar mitaltel, that you could come and you could take it to another place, is considered mitaf. Why? Let's say over here you have I don't know what, your iPhone, I don't know what. So even if you can't sell it here because there's just so much, or you have a car here, the new cars here, I don't know if you ever realized, right? There's new cars everywhere where you go. Everybody gets new cars. It's all leases. You go to certain places, whether it's Canada, the majority, right? It's all old cars. You understand? Everything's old. You understand? So he comes and he says, "Yeah, it's not that.
in Canada.
Yeah. So what happens is, right? Fine, but it's just an example. Don't get caught on the example, right? So basically, what happens is, right, is that when I'm going to come and I'm going to give you this, if it's metaltalin, you're right. Here, maybe nobody's going to come and he's going to get it. You're going to buy it. But if you're going to take it over there, somebody will buy it. So therefore, it's always mitaf. He says a field, you can't transport the field. The field is here. You can't move it. So therefore, there's certain halachot. And therefore, we want to give you the edit in order that everyone will come and want to run and buy it. So, Ba Miner Rav Shmuel bar Abba mi-Ukraina, Rabbi Abba, comes Rav Shmuel bar Abba mi-Ukraina, and he asks Rabbi Abba, Keshe'en shamin, b'shelo en shamin, or b'shelo lam en shamin. When the Bedin are going to come, they're going to evaluate what is considered the edit. Are they going to consider it in the echut of the karka of the mazik, or of the world? This is a very interesting question. Meaning like this. They're going to come and they're going to say, okay, fine, this guy damaged. Let's call this guy Mr. John Doe. So what do? They go to John Doe's properties and they take everything and then they come and they say, okay, this is edit, this is Benoni, this is, or do they evaluate it according to the world? What does it mean according to the world? I'm going to go according to the market. Now, I'm going to tell you, listen, this is edit. You don't even have edit. This is, I don't know what. You're right. For you, this is edit. Because, you are, but really, Benet, this is nothing. I said like nothing. So says the Gemara, Aliba de Rabbi Ishmael lo tibah lecha. According to Rabbi Ishmael, we're not going to ask. Because he always says that we go according to the Nizak, the damagee. So when is the question? According to Rabbi Kiva, that he says with the Mazik Shamina. What's Nitav Sadeh Omar Rachmana? The Miyuta de Nizak is coming to exclude the Nizak, but maybe it's the Miyuta de Almanami. Maybe it's also coming to exclude the entire world, not the Nizak. Meaning like this. We just said there was a machloket, if you remember, somebody damages. And we say you have to give from the best. Best of who? The one that's doing the damage, the mazik, or the nizak, the one that got damaged? Which one? Right? Which one? Why? Because if it was a billionaire that came and he damaged, right? A lot of people would be very happy if you go by the mazik. Right? Imagine, his edit. You're going to get in prime Manhattan, you're going to get a property. It's good. Even if it's going to be a small little tiny shoebox, but you know what it is in the middle of, you said, that's edit. But if you're going to go according to yours, you had a barn over there and a little tiny shed over there and a house over there and completely different. So that's mazik. Go like the nizak, but there's a machloket. So we go after the mazik or the nizak. So according to Rabbi Ishmael, we go after the nizak. According to Rabbi Akiva, we go after the mazik. So when we say that you're going according to the mazik, do we go according to the mazik to exclude the nizak, or do we go according to the mazik to exclude the world? Meaning that I don't go according to the world, the market value, but rather of the case. So Elmaleh comes and he tells him, the Torah says, Meitav Sadeu. It says Meitav Sadeu means his field. Why in the world would you say the world? It's his field, right? His field. You're going by the field. Fine. So says the Gemara, we're going to ask a question on this. En lo ela idit. What happens if he only has idit? So kulam govim idit. So everybody's going to have idit. Benonit, kulam govim idit. Ziborit, meaning like this. What happens if the person doesn't have different types of fields? He only has fields in Opalacha. He only has fields in Miskin Point. He only has fields in Surfside. So for what do you want? So you collect from whatever the guy has, which is going to be the idit ziborit or whatever the guy has. Hayulo aditu benitu ziborit. So the zikim beedit, balcho bebenonit, ktubat isha beziborit. Idit ubenonit. So the zikim beedit, balcho ktubat isha bebenonit. Benonit beziborit. The zikim balcho bebenonit, ktubat isha beziborit. Meaning, we just gave you the different rundown. What happens if he has different types of field? So one more time. If he only has idit, everybody collects idit. Only has benonit, everybody collects benonit. Only has ziborit, everyone collects ziborit. If he has everything. So again, the zikim collects from the zikim. Idit. Balchov. Benonit. Kitubat isha. Ziborit. Very good. What happens if he only has idit and benonit?
No.
What happens? He only has idit and benonit.
No.
So nezikim collect from idit. Kitubat isha. Balchov. There's no benonit. He only has idit and ziborit. One more time. The person. Yeah. So I apologize. So I made a mistake. So fine. I made a mistake. Sorry. One more time. Idit and ziborit. One more time. Idit and ziborit. The nizikin is going to collect from idit. Balchov. Ziborit. And kitubat isha. Ziborit. What happens if a person only has, right? What happens if a person only has? Sorry, I missed out. One second, I skipped the case. One more time. Idit, benonit, ziborit is each one. Idit benonit. Sorry, so I was correct. I apologize. So I was correct. Sorry. One more time. A person has idit benonit. So nizikin, idit, and the balchov ktuvat v'tisha benonit. Benonit v'ziborit. So the nizikin and balchov from benonit, and the ktuvat isha miziborit. I apologize. I was right from the first time. Okay. One more time. One second. Let me just finish the next line. Idit v'ziborit. 1 second. Idit v'ziborit, the top and the bottom. Nizikin be'edit, balchov ktuvat isha beziborit.